2026 gave horror exactly one masterpiece, and a whole lot of everything else. We took the 10 most watched horror films of the year, the ones audiences actually turned out for, and ranked them by their IMDb score, from the bottom of the barrel all the way up to the best. Along the way, a video game adaptation critics destroyed, a sequel that made a fortune while scoring 30%, a horror comedy comeback from a genre legend, and one film that pulled off something the genre manages maybe once a decade. This is Horror in 2026, ranked. We begin at the bottom, and for gamers it stings. Return to Silent Hill reunites director Christoph Gans with the fog-drowned town 2 decades after his cult favorite first attempt. This time almost no one was spared. An 18% from critics, a 4.0 from audiences, and barely $5.5 million worldwide. The source games are masterclasses in dread. The movie, critics agreed, mistook fog and jump scares for atmosphere. Video game adaptations were supposed to be a solved problem by now. This is the year's reminder that the curse isn't fully lifted. At 9, a movie that knows exactly what it is. Thrash comes from Tommy Wirkola, the gleeful Norwegian behind Dead Snow and Violent Night, and the pitch is pure creature feature. A Category 5 hurricane floods a coastal town, and the storm surge brings sharks into the streets. Most critics didn't bother. The Metascore sits at 49. But a 5.1 for a knowingly ridiculous shark movie isn't really a failure. This is a genre that has always lived on late-night cable, doing precisely what its fans showed up for. Nothing more, nothing less. Number 8 leans on a genuinely creepy hook, an ancient Aztec death whistle whose shriek summons your own future death to hunt you down. Corin Hardy, who made The Nun, has an eye for a set piece, and critics landed split down the middle at 64%. Audiences were cooler at 5.2. It's the recurring problem with modern horror in one film. A killer premise, a great object, and a script that runs out of ideas before the third act. Just over $1 million at the box office says word of mouth never caught. At 7, the year's most fascinating contradiction. Scream 7 made $122 million, one of the biggest horror hauls of the year, while critics buried it at 30%. And this one was personal. Kevin Williamson, who wrote the original 1996 classic, stepped up to direct for the first time, with Neve Campbell's Sidney Prescott back at the center. The money says the brand is bulletproof. The 5.5 says even loyal fans are feeling the fatigue. 7 films in, Ghostface is still profitable, just no longer surprising. Number 6 is the most ambitious swing on the list, and the most divisive. The Bride is Maggie Gyllenhaal's follow-up to her acclaimed directing debut, a lavish 1930s reimagining of Frankenstein's Bride as a story about a murdered woman brought back to spark a social revolution. Critics landed dead center at 57%, audiences at 5.7, weren't sure what to do with a horror film that's really an art house social drama in a monster's coat. It's the kind of noble misfire that's far more interesting than a safe success, but a misfire the crowd still felt. At 5, the surprise of the indie horror scene. Undertone follows the host of a popular paranormal podcast who starts receiving terrifying recordings she can't explain. A very 2020s kind of haunting. On a micro-budget, it pulled in over $17 million and a respectable 74% from critics. Here's the tell buried in the numbers. Critics, at 74, liked it noticeably more than the crowd's 6.1. That usually means a clever, festival-friendly idea that plays better to reviewers than to a Friday night audience just looking for a straightforward scare. Number 4 is the one that should have been a hit, and wasn't. Cold Storage adapts a novel by David Koepp, the man who wrote Jurassic Park, into a race to contain a hyper-evolving, brain-hijacking fungus escaping a secret lab. Critics loved the tension at 81%. Then it made just over $1.5 million, a genuine box office tragedy. The distance between an 81 critic score and a gross that small is the widest on this whole list. A smart, well-built horror thriller that almost nobody saw on a big screen. Find it on streaming. It deserved far better than it got. The podium starts with a legend returning home. Send Help is Sam Raimi's first time directing straight horror comedy since his Evil Dead days. and you can feel it in every frame. An employee and her monstrous boss, the only two survivors of a plane crash, stranded together in a survival nightmare that's as funny as it is vicious. 92% from critics, $65 million, and a 6.9 that honestly undersells how much fun it is. Raimi is still one of the very few directors alive who can make an audience laugh and scream in the same breath. This is the comeback of the year. At number 2, prestige horror at its most confident. The Bone Temple is the second chapter of Danny Boyle and Alex Garland's revived 28 Days universe, handed to Nia DaCosta, who pushes the Rage Virus saga somewhere stranger and more mythic. 91% from critics and an 81 Metascore make it the best-reviewed horror film of the entire year. The catch is the box office. Just $25 million, a fraction of what a franchise this acclaim should pull. Like several films here, it's a critical triumph audiences will discover late, and it will age beautifully once they do. And at number 1, not just the best horror of the year, but one of the best-reviewed horror films in years. Obsession is a monkey's paw nightmare. A hopeless romantic breaks a mysterious wishing tree to win his crush, and gets exactly what he asked for, at a horrifying price. Understand how rare these numbers are. Horror lives in the 6s on IMDb. An 8.0, with 94% from critics and $245 million at the box office, is a once-in-a-decade alignment of scary, smart, and genuinely successful. With Obsession, director Curry Barker didn't just make the best horror movie of 2026. He made the one the rest of the genre will be measured against. Here's the whole slate, side by side, and it tells the real story of horror in 2026. One masterpiece, Obsession, sitting alone at the top. A small cluster of good, underseen films right behind it. And then a long, steep drop into franchise fatigue and video game curses. The genre made plenty of money this year. Scream 7 and Obsession alone cleared over $350 million combined. But quality was concentrated in just a handful of titles. Horror didn't have a bad year at the bank. It had a top-heavy one on the screen. Two more worth flagging on your way out. We Bury the Dead earned a strong 88% from critics, but barely registered with audiences. The critics' pick almost nobody watched. And The Strangers, Chapter 3 quietly closed out its trilogy at 4.1, proving some franchises in not with a scream, but a shrug. That was every major horror film of 2026. One genuine masterpiece, a few underseen gems, and a whole lot of the genre spinning its wheels. Which one did the voters rank too high, and which one got robbed? Tell us in the comments. ReelTally turns real ratings into a new ranking every month. Subscribe, and we'll see you at the next one.